Niri has a lot of great and unique features when it comes to screencasting, and in this video we're going to demonstrate quite a few of them. Now what I really like is it uses XDD desktop portals as well as Pipewire to do the screencasting. Now what that means at the end of the day is, let's say that you want to share your screen and you happen to be using Zoom or Google Meet, Slack, Discord, Microsoft Teams, OBS, or something else. You're going to get a unified way to share your screen. So you can choose to pick a specific monitor and share your entire desktop. That's what I'm doing over here. If you have multiple monitors, you'll be able to pick whichever one that you want. So right now I'm sharing my primary, but I can switch over to the secondary and we'll go over that in a sec. Thirdly, though, if you want, you can share just a specific window instead of your entire desktop. Maybe you've done that in the past, where maybe you're just going to share your code editor or just sharing your browser. But there is some pain point associated with that, right? Where, maybe it starts with you just sharing your code editor now, but really you need to share your browser. So depending on whatever app that you're using, you'd have to go into that app and maybe either stop sharing and reshare and pick the different window. Maybe some other apps just allow you to switch windows, but still, you got to go back to that sharing app and then tinker and screw around. Now, Niri offers another option here called Dynamic Cast, which is pretty similar in the sense that you'll be casting one window at a time, but you can assign a global hotkey or you can run a Niri command, on demand if you'd like. But the idea there is, let's say that you have your browser focused and now you switch over to your terminal. You can just hit your hotkey and now your terminal is going to be casted. Maybe you want to switch over to Thunar or a file browser or something like that. You can just focus it, hit your hotkey, and now that's going to be casted. Basically, it acts as a window, but it's a dynamic window that you can choose what's going to be there. So a dynamic cast target. Now, in addition to that, there are tools like OBS that allow you to screencast just an area of your screen. So for example, you can imagine where my mouse is being outlined here. If I was just recording the inside of that, and then everything outside of there wouldn't be recorded. That's an app-specific feature, but we're going to go over how you can do that as well. Although with Niri, when it comes to it, there's not a whole lot that you need to do there since that's facilitated by OBS, but Niri unlocks some really great capabilities there for presenters to be able to do some neat things. So we're going to cover that too. So with that said, this video is kind of interesting because I am using OBS to record this video and certain things won't come up on video because they're just not captured in any type of recording. So I'll just overlay screenshots of those as we go here. But yeah, right now I'm going to go and change things over to start casting my second monitor. And again, I'm doing it through OBS, but it'll be the same doing whatever you're going to do. So yeah, let me actually switch to the second monitor here. Cool. I'll pick the Dell over here. Yep, that's the one. And now you should start seeing some OBS inception because I do have OBS running on my second monitor, and that white background is on purpose. I'm actually using that as a key light for the right side of my face here. But yeah, there's things going there. Let me just bring this thing back to going back to my original display so it's a little bit easier to look at. And there it is. Cool. Okay, so let's actually cast a specific window. So in that case here, I'm going to open up a terminal. There it is. And I'm going to pick a specific window instead, that terminal. I'll overlay that as well. And then there it is. Now, you do see some black bars, but this is due to OBS. Because imagine this, I am using OBS to capture a specific size of this monitor, right? It's a 4K display. But now we are just capturing a specific window. So remember at top, there was a way bar and, there's a little bit of spacing around. You can see a little bit of my wallpaper, etc. OBS isn't capturing that. So it's just putting blackness there instead. So that's why we see those black bars. If you were just doing this through a different app, let's say, I don't know, Zoom or Google Meet or whatever it happens to be, the people would only be seeing the window that you have actually focused here and casted. They wouldn't see the black bars. Okay, cool. So let me go and maybe open up a different window here. So I'll open up Thunar. Cool. Right now, I actually do have Thunar in view. You can't see it because I'm only casting my terminal. So I can choose to switch over here, going through the OBS menus here. Again, it's not OBS specifically, but now I'll pick Thunar instead. There it is. I'm going to share it, hit OK, and there it is. Now you see Thunar. Now I just switched back over to my terminal, but you can see how annoying that is, right? If I needed to do this workflow just to switch between them. So now I'm going to enable Dynamic Cast, which really is just a specific window that you pick called Niri Dynamic Cast Target. And when you do this, it starts off with nothing. Right now you just see total blackness, right? Okay, so now I'm going to hit a hotkey over my terminal, and there you see the terminal. I'm going to switch to Thunar, hit the hotkey, now you see Thunar. Going back to the terminal, hit the hotkey again, there it is. See how quickly you can just switch between different windows. And what's really nice, and you don't see this one in the actual recording, I'll include a screenshot of this one, it's drawing the border color in a red color on whatever window is being actively casted. So, when I jump to a window that's not casted, it has my normal border there, which is pretty nice. So that covers some basic cases, right? Recording your entire display or a specific window through dynamic cast, or just like statically picking a window. But there's other options we can do as well. For example, let me do recording stop here. It doesn't actually stop the recording, just some convenience things to play around with scaling. But yeah, let's go and do this instead, which is going to be recording a region of the screen. So let me go and just change OBS now so you can actually see the full monitor to see exactly what just happened here. This one, yep, that's the one, cool. Here, you see my normal full desktop, but windows have been positioned to be in a certain area. And I can just use niri normally now. Now, this looks pretty crazy if I open up, I don't know, another terminal window or something like this. There it is. I can just start flipping between these. Now, you might be thinking, like, why would you have things positioned like this? This is pretty dumb. But watch this. I'm going to go into OBS and just set a different source. And now suddenly you just see one of those terminal windows. I can jump to the next one. I can jump to Thunar. I can just start using niri normally as I would. Now, I do have things set up now with niri. That little script that I ran makes all the windows open up maximized, because usually on this small of a window, you wouldn't want things split. But I can do this as well, basically at my discretion. But yeah, what's really cool about this, and let me get rid of that feature on OBS so you go back to seeing everything. What's really nice about this is I can have some little notes floated off here where my mouse is, and you would never see them. You're only ever going to see what's ever in basically this region here. And I have OBS configured to just capture what's in that region when I have that source enabled. So this is really nice, right? As someone who's presenting, because you can have all your notes wherever you want, even on this side as well. Nobody's going to see anything except what's in here. You don't have to worry about hitting hotkeys all the time to cast specific windows. So you get the experience of being able to arbitrarily open whatever you want, use niri like normal, and get that going. This really takes advantage of a niri feature called struts. Actually, let me go to my DAV files here. Actually, hold on. Let me do this. We may be a little bit easier. Let me close this down. I'll do recording stop, and then I'll do recording start again. But this time I'll do it zoomed in so we can actually just see everything a little bit easier to read. And now if we go to the .dot files here, I'll open up niri, config, and yeah, let me go to the local file actually. So in here, those little scripts that I ran that position things or scale things or whatever, it actually comments out this line to enable struts here when we're doing that like region specific area. Yeah, so struts kind of give you, I don't know, sort of like a fenced off area that is just tiled windows won't ever go there. So in this case here, I have them set up. Again, I've got a 4K display and this sets up a region here, but you can imagine like, a whole lot of left padding, a lot of right padding, a little bit of top padding, and a lot on the bottom. Like you eventually get a little condensed window to be the size that you want. So you can tweak those however you want, depending on your display. But yeah, the idea there is, yeah, you just enable struts, use niri like normal, keep your floated windows, because floated windows can live outside of those struts. So you'd have to like float your notes over or whatever you want. But that's no problem because yeah, you wouldn't be like really interfacing that with a whole lot. Like maybe you move your mouse over, copy some command from your notes and then go back into wherever everything else is, paste it in, and just, yeah, no one's really going to be able to see that, which is pretty cool because it means less distractions for you. So that covers quite a few different ways to do screen sharing, but niri also has a couple other tricks up its sleeve. So like maybe you don't want to mess around with the struts like this. So, you can make something like a tab group here and just start like consuming windows into this tab. Right now I have two terminals open, right? Let me just consume this one into here. So now we actually have two windows here. I can now switch between these. Like you can imagine a world where, let's say you just have an area of your screen recorded. I'm not going to go back to what it was before, but yeah, imagine you just had that one region recorded. You can just position this one window, this one tab group in there, and now you can just switch between your windows here, and anybody who's seeing things would just see what's there. So as for other tricks, I almost forgot a really important one. That's why I'm wearing a different shirt. Technically, it is the next day. I'm just editing this in. So niri has a capability to black out any window of your choosing. For example, maybe you have a password manager or something else that you never want to come up on a live stream or a video recording or a live demo or whatever it happens to be. So check it out. I'm going to open up this KeyPass program, which I have, which is my password manager, now taking up the left half. But on video right now, this is just a redacted black screen. You cannot see it. However, I can see it. So if I open up my terminal here, also, open up these side by side, you can see terminal works totally fine. But this window I'm playing around with is totally blacked out. And that's due to a blackout feature that niri has. So let's go and check this out here. If we go and look at the .dot files, so I'll make this full screen, so a little bit easier to read. But yeah, if I go to the niri config file here, and yeah, this window rule here, if it matches KeyPass for the app ID, then we can black out from screencast. And there's other options you can do like screenshots as well, but in this case here, it is just blocking it out for screencast. So if I didn't have this rule in here, let's say I comment this out, save this file, and we go back to KeyPass, there it is. Right now, you can't see any of my passwords, on disk where I have my database saved, but that's it. So yeah, once you do this, then yeah, you can block things out. And of course, you can match this on whatever you like here. In my case, I'm just, blocking the password manager, but yeah, you can have other things blocked as well, which is pretty nice. Niri has all sorts of different tricks to make screencasting or, creating live streams or whatever you want to do. Very, very nice. And I didn't cover every possible feature Niri has, so I'll link to their documentation around screencasting because there is the ability to mirror windows as well. Like for example, you can have this entire display mirrored out to a specific window, and then you can go and cast that somewhere else. That actually is facilitated through a third-party tool, but Niri has bind set up for your ability to do that. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer all of them. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. It really does help a lot. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.